Hello, and welcome to the 4thDownPodcast. On another gorgeous day, hello, my name is Alex, and today, we're going to be ranking, we're not really ranking, but predicting the Nfc North champions for the upcoming 2023 season. Should be probably the best division of football. Aaron Rodgers just left out of Green Bay, so he's gone. It's pretty much anyone's up for grabs. We got the resurgent Detroit Lions, we got the upcoming Chicago Bears, the potentially rebuilding Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings, who we don't know if they're going to be as good or have a major decline. They do lose a lot of key weapons, but we're going to jump right into it. We're going to break down some of the offseason moves that each team made. We're going to break down the schedule, and we're going to see who's going to be the NFC North champs for the year 2023. Now, before we jump into this, if you want to please hit that like button, subscribe, and comment what you think about the video. We're going to try to do something different like in the future with video editing and all that stuff. But please, as for now, always like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel on The 4th Down. And please follow us on Instagram and TikTok under The 4th Down. So, let's jump right into this. Let's start with the team that used to rule the NFC North, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. And that's going to be the Green Bay Packers. Last season, they were one win away from the playoffs. And they lost to the Detroit Lions 2016 at Lambeau, and that was Aaron Rodgers' final game. Now, you transition from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, and the question is Jordan Love going to be that guy? Is Jordan Love going to be great? Maybe. Is he going to suck? We don't know. But I'm going to evaluate as if Jordan Love plays decently. But the major thing that's helping Jordan Love right now when it comes to his first full season as a starter, he still has a defense. Green Bay defense is pretty good. They brought back Keyshawn Nixon this offseason, which I think is going to help Jordan Love a lot. Great field position. Making him feel more comfortable and not as stressed. And I think it helps when you have a dynamic duo running back in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I think those things are going to help. And they did draft the two tight ends in Luke Musgraves and Tucker Kraft. But, with all the weapons, we'll see how he does. Now, let's break down the schedule for the Packers. They're going to play at Chicago, at Atlanta, home against New Orleans and Detroit. They're going to go to at Las Vegas week 5. Their bye week's week 6. Which, a lot of people will have mixed emotions about early bye weeks. Then coming off the bye week, you play at Denver week 7, Minnesota home, Rams home, at Steelers, Chargers home, at Lions on Thanksgiving, home against the Chiefs, and then end your season with the last 5 games at New York Giants, home against the Bucks, at Panthers, at Minnesota, and Chicago. Now, my first thought when I looked at the schedule, it's a pretty easy schedule. For a new quarterback, first full season as a starter, I think that's a perfectly easy schedule. With a minor few teams like the Chiefs, Chargers, potentially throwing that the Broncos too, and at the Giants. But overall, this should be a nice, easy evaluation for the Packers of Jordan Love. But before the season, with the defense Green Bay has and Keyshawn Nixon, and if Jordan Love can create some chemistry with the young guys at wide receiver and tight ends, Green Bay could be a potential 9-10 win team. Now, there are a few games you might want to look at that they could flip. Like the games I think that could potentially be like 50-50 and can make or break the Packers season. I think the games at Denver, at Pittsburgh, and that Thanksgiving game against the Lions is going to be huge. Some of the notable easy wins I think Green Bay might get. I think they're going to get an easy win at Atlanta. I think, honestly, Tampa Bay, at Carolina. I think those are some of the easier wins for Green Bay. But overall, I do have the Green Bay Packers at a 9-8 record. I think that's not bad. I don't think they're going to suck like everyone else does. I think Green Bay is going to be decent. They're not going to be what they used to be, but I think they'll be just enough to maybe compete for a wild card playoff spot. And a lot of people forget too, Aaron Rodgers had, for his standards, bad stats. But if you look at those stats for any other quarterback, that's a decently average quarterback.
But overall, I think Green Bay goes 9-8. They do have a favorable schedule, a couple tough opponents here and there, early bye week, which
You be the case. I mean, I don't know. But I do like the fact they end the season with 2 division opponents. That could be huge. So overall, Green Bay is going 9-8 in my personal opinion. Let's jump to the Detroit Lions. The resurgent Lions, who started off 1-6, they finished season 9-8, winning 8 of their last 10 games. Now, the Detroit Lions in the offseason, they lost Jamal Williams, which I think could be a huge loss for them. But they did replace him with David Montgomery. They also got Jahmyr Gibbs in the draft, which I really loved. The war room was going crazy when they drafted him. They did acquire kicker Riley Patterson from the Jags, and they brought back Marvin Jones, got Cam Sutton, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Now, the biggest problem for the Lions last season was their defense. Their defense was atrocious for some games. But they revamped that defense with Chauncey and Cam Sutton. I know the secondary was a little weak there for a little bit. But Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph was a stud last year, picking off Aaron Rodgers 3 times, making big plays. Aiden Hutchinson was a stud. But I thought the Detroit Lions had a pretty good offseason. They pretty much found the missing pieces for their defense. They found what holes they need to fill. And their draft wasn't too bad, too. They did get, I believe they got Branch, the Alabama safety. I believe that was Detroit that got him. So that's a big plus in their secondary, too. Now let's look at their schedule real quick. Week 1, you're going to the champs Kansas City Chiefs. And then you're going to go at home against the Seahawks and Falcons. Then week 4, you're going to at Green Bay, home against the Panthers. And then 2 road games at the Bucs and at the Ravens. Then you're going to get a week 8 home against the Vegas. You get a week 9 bye week. Then you're at Chargers, Chicago, Green Bay, at New Orleans, at Chicago. And I think these last 4 games are going to make or break the Lions season. Well, actually, last 5 games. But at Chicago, week 13, Denver, week 14 at Chicago, 15 Denver at home, week 16 at the Vikings, week 17 at Cowboys, and week 18 home against the Vikings. Now, after breaking down the schedule too and predicting which is wins and which is losses, I do have the Lions going 10-7. I might flip 11-6. I do think they could potentially, I think they could beat the Dallas Cowboys or Minnesota Vikings on the road. I do have those games as losses, but I think those games could be a huge flip. The make or break games for the Lions, in my personal opinion, like I said, I think at the Minnesota Vikings, at Cowboys are 2 huge games. And at New Orleans too, on the road in Louisiana against Derek Carr and the revamped Saints. Those 3 games are going to make or break the Lions season. I do think Detroit's talented. I think Jared Goff is a proven QB1 in this league. Obviously, he led the Rams to the Super Bowl under McVay. They should have made the playoffs under Dan Campbell last year. But I think 10-7 is being generous enough for the Lions. I do think they could potentially even be better. But again, the main issue was the defense. And a little bit of the issue going to be how will the running game adapt without Jamal Williams. And DeAndre Swift, too. I forgot they lost him. But they got Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So, we'll see. But I think Detroit's solid. I think they're a great football team. I think 10-7 is a perfect record for them. So let's move on to the Chicago Bears. The Bears had the best offseason out of all these teams, obviously. They were the number 1 pick in the 2022 draft. They traded DJ Moore and a bunch of picks away. Well, Panthers did to get the number 1 pick. So the Bears got DJ Moore, a bunch of draft capital. And the Bears were rolling in money, signing TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, Nate Davis, and they got Darnell Wright in the draft too.
The biggest question for the Chicago Bears season is kind of like what Green Bay's dealing with. Can Justin Fields be that guy?
Now, there were a lot of speculation and a lot of questions heading in the draft that they were going to draft a quarterback, that the Bears didn't believe in Justin Fields. Well, I think after the season last year Fields had, they believe that, hey, you're our guy. We're going to go all in on you. But keep proving to us you're that guy.
And the Bears,
they don't have the toughest schedule, but let's break it down. They start the season at home against Green Bay. And the next two are road games at the Bucks, at Chiefs, home against the Broncos, at Washington week 5, and at the Raiders, home against the Raiders, at the Chargers, at Saints, home against the Panthers, at Lions, at Vikings, a late bye week, week 13, and you end the season with Lions, at Browns, Cardinals, Falcons, and at the Packers. So, I do think the Chicago Bears are going to be a lot better than what they were this previous season. I think they're going to have a 9-8 record in my close opinion. Now, there's a couple games that I think they could flip. And those games actually being at Green Bay, at Minnesota, obviously. I think the Raiders game will be closer than what people think. And at Tampa Bay. The reason I say at Tampa Bay is week 2. They're in South Florida. It's going to be hot. It's going to be warm. So that game might be a trap game for Chicago. But overall, I do think the Chicago Bears can go 9-8 in the NFC North. That's probably it for the Bears. And our last team in the NFC North is obviously the Minnesota Vikings. The defending NFC North champ was a 13-4 record. Lost a lot of weapons this offseason. Lost Darius Smith. Lost Eric Kendricks. Lost Dalvin Cook just recently. They lost Patrick Peterson. They got Jordan Addison in the draft. And a couple of decent other acquisitions. So the Minnesota Vikings, obviously 13-4. Kirk Cousins coming off a decent season. And now they're going to shift to Madison, who's running back one for the Vikings. And they're going to hopefully rely more on the air game with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And I also forgot they lost Adam Thielen too. So it's going to be a rebuild. Well, probably not a rebuild year. But it's going to be an interesting season for the Vikings. Let's break down the schedule real quick. Home against the Bucks. At Philly week 2. Home against the Chargers. At Carolina. Kansas City home. At Chicago. San Francisco. And then at Green Bay. At Atlanta. Saints home. At Broncos. Home against the Bears. And in your last 4 games after a late bye week. At Raiders. At Bengals. Lions. Packers. At Lions. Those last 5 games is going to be the biggest stretch for the Vikings that season. If the Vikings want to make the playoffs, or they want to at least compete for the playoffs, Minnesota has to win probably 3 or 4 of those last 5 games. At Raiders is tough. At Bengals, you already know what's going to happen. Detroit home, which Detroit gave you a run last year. They blew you out one game and then almost beat you the other time. Green Bay, don't know what Green Bay's going to do. We'll see. And then at Detroit. But after breaking down the schedule, now some of those flip games, let me mention real quick. I think at Las Vegas, at Denver could be flip games. And San Francisco too. I do think if the Minnesota Vikings at home against the Niners, that could be a good game. But currently I have the Vikings on a 9-8 record.
But at Las Vegas, I have a loss. At Detroit, I have a loss. San Francisco, I have a loss. But those 3 games, you could flip 2, and you can go at Chicago too. I have them losing. Look at my schedule. I have them actually going on a 4-game losing streak from Kansas City at Green Bay. But I think at Chicago, at Green Bay could be flips too. Um,
I just think Minnesota lost a lot of weapons. They're still gonna be good, but I think with losing a lot of defensive side of the ball and a little bit of offensive side, Matson's a terrific running back too. I like watching him play, but I think with all lost pieces, I think Minnesota's gonna have a stumbling year too.
But overall, let's break down the final results. So
I have Detroit Lions at 10-7, Green Bay 9-8, Minnesota 9-8, and the Bears 9-8. I know they're really, really tight, but I think this division is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think you have 4 pretty much unknown teams. They're known teams, obviously, but like we don't know what direction they're going to. That's the best part about it. Now the AFC East, you know the Bills are good. You know the Jets are going to be good. You know the Dolphins are going to be good. And you know the Patriots with Bill Belichick always competing. But for the NFC North, we don't know if Jordan Love and Packers are going to be good. We don't know if the Vikings are going to be good. We don't know if the Bears are going to be good. And yes, even though our Lions had a terrific end to the 2020 season, we don't know if the Lions are going to be good. And that's going to be the best part about watching the NFL this season, especially this division. You just don't know. But after doing the research and after breaking down the schedule, in my opinion, everyone has their opinions, I think that the Detroit Lions will be the NFC North champions for the 2023 season.
and like I said, I think it's gonna be a fun.
I think that's going to be a fun division. So, yeah. Alright, y'all. That's it for the 2023 NFC North predictions. I appreciate all love and support. Please like, comment, subscribe. We're going to try to break down every division predictions while we can. The next one's going to be the AFC North. It's going to come out Friday.
And I'll post
A little glimpse of this too on TikTok and Instagram. Pretty much giving you guys on other social media platforms like my input on these predictions. Alrighty, guys. Hey, love y'all. Appreciate the love. Like, comment, subscribe, and please follow us on all our socials. Alrighty, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.